Hey, what is going on everyone? Jason here at Waddle, and for today, I'm going to show you how I organize my Google Drive with schoolwork. Throughout the past few days, I've been thinking a lot about what I really want to do during this quarantine, and I figured something I really wanted to try more often on this channel is to definitely be able to teach you guys some productivity skills that you guys can also incorporate into your own life, so you can struggle less on academics and spend more time having fun, trying out new passions, and overall just living a life that you will remember. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this video. So yeah, as you guys can see on my main drive for academics, I'm using the Google Drive that is linked to my school's email. That way I can separate out my schoolwork and my non-schoolwork, and I definitely encourage you to do the same. But with this system I have right now, I feel like it's definitely the most optimal, and that's mainly because a lot of universities will give their students unlimited storage, so it's super helpful to have everything in place and not having to worry about backing up or allocating storage space and transferring files to different places. But yeah, from the main page of my Google Drive, obviously you have your quick access files for all of them, in which you can just quickly go through like a previous assignment you were working on the day before. And then underneath that, I make sure to have one folder for every single class that I'm enrolled in. There really isn't a better way to organize your stuff. If you use notebooks and stuff, you already do it with a notebook anyways by having separate notebooks per class. So what you do in real life, definitely make sure to carry that through to what you do online. Other than that, I also have some separate folders for different things. For miscellaneous notes, I basically have loose notes that's not really relating to class. So as you can see, I have a document titled CPR Notes for the time in which I took notes in order to get my certification in CPR, as well as an investment and finance guide from the notes that I took while attending a seminar during my free time at UCLA. If you have more files inside this miscellaneous folder, you can definitely categorize this in whichever way you want. But for now, I think it's just a great way to sort everything by last modified. Moving along, I also have a folder for previous classes. So every time a quarter ends, I would then take all the photos from my classes and drop it into the previous classes folder. Not going to do that right now because it's currently the middle of the quarter. But this is just to reduce clutter, but at the same time still have those files at hand in case you ever needed to reference them. And then the final folder I have in my Google Drive is my resume and cover letter folder. Overall, this is still a work in progress. I can definitely create new folders as needed. For example, I might have a folder just to contain all my scholarships. So in the future now, I'm just gonna move all my scholarship stuff to my academic drive. So that's an overview of my Google Drive. Now let's dive into some subject folders to show you how I sort those. So for example, for my chemistry lab class, Chem 14BL, if we click into here, you can see that we have a bunch more folders depending on how things go. On the main files, I'll always make sure to put a copy of the syllabus, as well as files that may be important for multiple assignments. So in this case, I have the equation sheet, as well as calculations in case I need anything like that. Now every time I do a lab, I'll make sure to put everything that I used inside each individual folder. So we have our flowcharts, written procedures, Excel sheet with all the data, my lab reports, and finally the instructor guideline for each lab report. All of these stuff are just built on top of each other. So whenever I get new stuff for a lab, like the instructor guidelines for the lab report, I'll put that in first, and then make a copy of a previous lab report, just so I can transfer that to a new folder. Saves me a bunch of time on trying to format the page, and I can just modify the nitty-gritty sections specific to the experiment as well. Other than that, I also have a folder dedicated to just lecture slides. Every time the teacher posts the lecture slides online, I'll make sure to download them. I've done both. You can categorize them either by week or you can categorize them by day. I find them more helpful because we're on the quarter system and each quarter is 10 weeks long, to just label them week 1 through 10. But having the date on there might also work. I'm just not a huge fan of this because I feel like the date is just completely pointless. But on the other hand, for non-science classes, the setup is slightly different, but it's also kind of similar. So for example, at UCLA for the last quarter, I took a class called Musicology 68, which focuses on the history of the Beatles. It's a general education requirement that I had to take. I would say out of everything else, this folder is a little bit less organized. I paid a lot less attention to this class than I normally would for my major requirements. But yeah, overall, since this class only had 2 essays, I didn't bother sorting them into folders. Instead, I just had a midterm and then a final. In the parentheses, I usually put my score that I got. And that's just so that if I ever share this essay with a friend, so then they can use that as a sample essay, they'll know what grade I got. And clearly, as it shows, I should never share my Beatles midterm to anyone ever. I did alright on the final, so I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, other than that, I always keep a backup of discussion posts as well, in which each discussion post I'll make sure to copy and paste the question on there, write up my title, and finalize my response. That's just mainly because I want to make sure I work everything off of Google. In case a server crashes or whatever, I will still have my work done and I won't have to start over again. Since in the end I am copying and pasting everything back into a discussion board, the formatting of this paper doesn't really matter, I just wanted to have text on there. And finally, I also have lecture notes, in which clearly you can tell I actually went to this class a lot. But yeah, I have lecture notes for every week, and then in the end I also have a lecture master sheet in which it will include all of my notes, just so that when I'm studying for a final or something like that, I can just quickly reference something. But yeah guys, that's how I organize my Google Drive, the overall structure for science classes and for non-science classes. I hope you guys found this kind of useful. Once again, there are a million different ways to organize it, but from my experience, that is what helped me the most. From just simply sorting your work, it definitely saves a bunch more time. So in the end, you can do a lot more things that you like to do. That about does it for me for this video, so if you found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, definitely make sure to leave a like on it. Tell me in the comments on what other productivity tips you want to know. And feel free to share this video out to some of your other friends so then they can get better at school as well. But yeah, I want to wish you guys all a waddle-tastic day, and we'll see you in another video, I guess. Peace.